Once you're happy with your design in grayscale, it's time to add the color. You can add the color directly in InDesign, or if you have pictures or graphics that you've used in Photoshop or Illustrator, you can change those as well. Now, what we're going to do is start with this composition right here. I did everything in InDesign, so this is probably the most straightforward to change the colors for. I have everything in black and white and they're tinted. So now all I have to do to change the color but keep the values is change the color swatch. One thing to note is that it's easier to change things if you have the swatch already saved. Now I've saved my yellow-green color swatch over here. If you want to know how to do it, what you would do is double click this square, or you could double click this square over here. This gives you the color picker, and it's a place where you can add to your swatch panel. What you would do to get the swatch is either type in the hex code over here or the RGB, CMYK, whatever code you have for it, or you could find the color like this. I already have a code saved for that, so I'm just going to pick a random one over here and instead of hitting OK, you would add to CMYK swatch. If you want it to be an RGB swatch, you could just click into RGB and it changes it over here. If you did this, it would change it to an HSB swatch. In any event, you just hit add swatch, and now you can hit OK. Notice that it changed the swatch, the color of the object, because I had the object chosen. And if you wanted to bring the swatch all the way to the top so you don't have to scroll down to find it, you could do that. Now I'm going to change this to the swatch that I want, and the first thing I notice is that this color is too light. Even though it's the right value technically, I don't think it looks the way that I want, and that's because different colors have different inherent lightness to it. Yellow is an inherently light color, so once I tint it, it becomes too light. Red is an inherently bold color, blue and greens, and purples, those are inherently darker, so you would need to tint them less once you add the hue. But I'm actually just going to take this up to 100 for this composition because I think that this needed to be darker. I'm probably going to want to do something similar here. I think this looks too nice as a yellow because of the low tint, so I'm going to change this. Let's see what happens here. So I've changed it to make it darker. I don't think there's enough contrast now. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to take it down. Let's take it down to 60. I'm going to now take it down even more. And I'm just going to play with it until I like it. When it comes to doing these letters, something I want to try is to actually keep some of it dark and black and keep some of it white. Just because we're adding color doesn't mean you can't use blacks and whites anymore. Those colors are great for getting attention. I want the top one, like the top landscape, to stay gray because I think that'll add, make it look nicer. So I'm actually going to change this one to being yellow. Okay, and I'm going to change, I think, let's lock the top two now, and I'm going to change the third one to being white, just to see what it looks like. Yeah, and I like how those colors are interacting with each other. I could change the author's name to being yellow also. It depends on how much I want it to show up. Now it's not showing up as clearly, so I could also, now I'm holding down Option and my arrow key. So I just duplicated it, and I'm going to make this black. And now I have it layered. And yeah, that looks kind of cool. Something to note, once you're actually up to making the colors, the black that you get as a default color is actually not a very rich black because it doesn't contain, it's only, see, the CMYK value is 0, 0, 0, K is 100. For this to be a rich black, what you actually want is for it to have CMYK, you want all of these to be 0. So what I would actually do is double click on that, and at this point I would change it to being 100, 100, 100, and then hit OK. You're not necessarily going to see a difference. Maybe we should just add a new swatch. Add CMYK swatch. Okay, I've done it twice, so now we're going to have it twice. We can trash one of them. You're not going to necessarily see the difference on your screen, but you will see a difference when you, if you were to print it or when you save it as a PNG or any other file. It wasn't important to have it be the correct black when you were doing your original versions because you were going to be changing the colors. But once you start changing the colors, you should also change the blacks to being what's called a rich black. Okay, so that's how you change the colors if all you're changing is an InDesign file. In the next video, I'm going to show you how you can change the colors of things when you have a Photoshop file or an Illustrator file to contend with.